The rain was coming down hard that night, the kind of cold, merciless rain that seemed to wash the color out of everything. A lone figure stumbled through the storm. A woman, soaked to the bone, clutched her swollen belly with trembling hands. Her name was Emily, and she was 8 months pregnant, barefoot, and bleeding from a cut on her lip. Her clothes were torn. Her breath was shallow. She had run for miles through rural Nebraska roads in darkness, escaping something or someone that had left her more frightened than she had ever been in her life. She didn't know where she was going. All she knew was that she had to keep moving, that her baby had to live. Through the sheets of rain, she saw a flicker of neon light. The Midnight Rider.
The name itself might have scared most people away, but Emily was out of options. Her knees nearly gave out as she pushed the heavy door open.
The bar in Bristol went silent. Inside were about a dozen men, leather jackets, tattoos, heavy boots, the smell of oil and beer thick in the air. Their eyes turned toward her, confused, curious, guarded. She looked like she had walked out of another world and into the lion's den. Her hair stuck to her face, her cardigan clung to her body, and her eyes, full of desperation, met those of a large man with a gray beard and arms covered in ink. He stood near the counter, his vest marked with the word President. Emily's lips quivered. She whispered, "Please, I need help." The man she had spoken to was Daniel, a biker who had seen more pain than most men could endure. He had buried his brother, lost his family, and carried guilt he never talked about. He had been trying to rebuild his club's reputation, to turn it from a name feared on the streets into something that meant loyalty, not chaos. But when Emily entered that night, shaking and covered in rain, he wasn't thinking about redemption. He was thinking about what kind of trouble was about to walk through his door. Before we dive deeper into this story, if you believe in redemption, if you believe that unexpected kindness can change everything, then please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Third Person View. Share it with someone who needs to believe in the good in people, no matter their past. Your support helps us spread stories that inspire the world. Emily could barely stand. She sank to her knees on the cold tile floor, her hands clasped as if praying. "Please, someone's after me. He said he would kill me if I left. I just need to make it through tonight." The men exchanged uncertain looks. A few muttered under their breath. A pregnant woman, scared, broken, asking a gang of bikers for help. It sounded like a story no one wanted to be part of, but Daniel couldn't look away. There was something in her eyes, a kind of pain he recognized. He knelt down in front of her and saw the bruises on her wrists. She had been hurt badly. They took her to the back booth, wrapped her in a towel, gave her water, and listened as she tried to speak through trembling lips. Her voice was small, fragile. She told them about Jason, her husband, a man who had promised to love her, but instead turned her life into a nightmare. When she got pregnant, he grew more violent, controlling, dangerous. That night, he had thrown her against a wall when she said she was leaving. So she ran without shoes, without a plan, just hope. Daniel stood silent for a long moment, then looked at his men. "Nobody touches her. Nobody questions her. She stays here tonight." And with that, he made a decision that would change all of their lives. They set up a cot in the office, brought her warm food, even found an old blanket someone's mother had made. One of the younger bikers, Jack, found her a pair of dry clothes from the storage room. She thanked them through tears.
None of them had heard words quite like "thank you" in a long time. Not like that. As the hours passed, Daniel sat outside the office door, a beer in his hand, but his mind somewhere else. He thought about his own daughter, the one he hadn't seen in 10 years. He remembered how she used to cling to his arm when she was little, and how he had chosen his bike over her one too many times. He thought about how life gives you moments, rare, sacred moments, to do the right thing even when the world thinks you are the worst person alive. Just before dawn, the sound of a truck pulling up outside shattered the fragile calm. The men looked toward the window. Headlights glared through the rain. Daniel stood up slowly. "Stay with her," he ordered, his voice low. He walked to the door, his boots echoing against the floor. A man stumbled in, big, angry, wild-eyed. "Where is she?" he roared. "Where's my wife?" The bikers surrounded him in silence.
Daniel stepped forward. "You need to leave." Jason's face twisted with rage. "She's mine! You hear me? Mine!"
He lunged toward the office door, but before he could reach it, Jack and 2 others held him back. The scene was tense, brutal. A storm inside a storm. Daniel stared him down, his jaw tightening. "Not anymore," Daniel said quietly. "You lost that right when you laid your hands on her." It was over in minutes. The police, called by one of the men quietly moments earlier, took Jason away. Emily, trembling, heard everything from behind the door. When she finally came out, she found Daniel sitting alone at a table, head bowed, rain still dripping from his jacket.
She walked over, tears streaming down her face, and whispered, "You saved my life." Daniel looked up, his voice barely a whisper. "No, sweetheart, you saved ours."
Days passed. Emily stayed until she could find shelter. The bikers fixed her car, gave her money, and promised her she would never have to be afraid again. When she left, she hugged each of them. Men who had once been feared, now standing quietly, trying not to cry. Daniel walked her out, placed a folded piece of paper in her hand, an address, just in case she ever needed help again. Months later, a letter arrived at the bar. It was from Emily. Inside was a photo, a newborn baby boy wrapped in a blue blanket. On the back, in soft handwriting, she had written, "His name is Hope, because that's what you gave us." The men stood around the bar that night, silent. Some smiled, some wiped their eyes. Daniel held the photo the longest, his rough fingers trembling. Maybe life hadn't given him a second chance with his own child, but somehow helping Emily had healed something he didn't even know was still broken. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that true strength often lies in compassion, then you know that healing can come from the most unlikely places, and hope can blossom even in the darkest storms. Please like this video, subscribe to Third Person View, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that even the most broken among us can offer and find redemption.
Before we close, I want to ask you, what do you think was Daniel's most powerful act? Protecting Emily from her husband, or finding a way to heal his own past through her?
Your support helps us continue sharing stories that matter. What resonated most with you? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read them all.